Hello, this is Finnegan. Welcome to my house. I'm at Lot 7 of Founders Point, which is next to a construction yard built on the rock and has a nice waterfall in the background. Three major points that I was hoping to hit. Got all three. We're good to go. So because I play so many diverse classes and races, I figured I would go for an inclusive warband style. So rather than focusing on a specific style to get a specific outcome out of it, this is more to give you like almost like a fraternity house kind of feeling where all of them have their own individual spaces, and then the social spaces cater to multiple cultures and just the blending between them. So, going around the lot, on the construction side of things, I have a food truck and commissary, and the overseer's desk with surveying scope, looking over the construction yard. As we continue around the yard, I have a gazebo just for sitting and having lunch, and I decided to put a Curian fountain underneath the apple tree so that when the apples are in season, they drop down. So, bobbing for apples, while also making, Kyrian purified cider. As we continue around, we have my repair shop, so obviously all my tunes are always very busy and they're in constant need of repair, so I figured I'd put in a little shop for that. My fishing area is just cleaning and rods and such. And then this I call my favorite spot. I put in some extra cheese and such just so that way when you're sitting in it, you get the nice view of the waterfall that I was really looking forward to. Beside that, I figured, with safety in mind, I would have like a heat exhaustion slash sit out of the sun space where people can lay down if they need to, and fresh water. Of course, I have my little tea party space. I was thinking about doing like a bartending thing here eventually, but we'll wait until all the wine bottles and such come out with midnight. Okay, and then the last thing is my memorial garden. So this was just to commemorate remember the fallen of the previous wars that we've had and such. Uh, so yeah, I mean, when you have this many characters and all of them have suffered great atrocities in the name of war, there is always space to remember those. All right, so going into the house. So this is kind of a elven human hybrid space for the most part. There is a little bit of everything else in between, but mostly human and elven. As you enter, we have the main hallway. I managed to luck out on a bunch of these elven temple braziers. There was one specific rare that you could just farm, and his spawn rate was extremely quick. So I managed to get just under a dozen of them. Going into the space, off to the left we have the sparring slash sorted out room, and then upstairs is the bedroom space. So I'll share that in a minute. Off to the right we have the lounge space, which I'll share in a minute also. And then behind we have kind of like a Victorian style dining and kitchen space. So each one of them have their own entrance, but near the rear of the room there is a serving door that allows you access between the kitchen and the dining room for serving food. So that way, when the meal starts, both of these doors can close. The dining room is completely enclosed except for when staff comes in to feed. So, or serve. So, going into the space, yet again, very Night Elf themed. So, these were mostly out of Lorlathil and such. I do have Tiergard banner on this side, though, and some dragon bits. For the lights and for the lighting, this was prior to them announcing that they were going to have ambience control. I actually have 3 levels of light stacked on each other. So I use the tabletop light with the handle in it, with the handle pointing inward, and then 2 layers of elven lights on top in order to get this kind of ambience in here. So it's really nice because like with the natural blue lighting that you normally get with Night Elf stuff, it really brightens up the room and brings it to like day level lighting. Then the service room, so you can see the service room is directly across from the fireplace, so that way when the food is prepared and being served out, it's being heated by the fireplace at the same time. There's also a chair next to the fireplace for the person who's looking over the food and making sure that things are being served when they're supposed to be served. I have a bell there to call the waiters over to. So I'll show that in a minute. I'm just going to go in from the other side because it's a little easier to see everything from the other side. And there's a little Easter egg in there too. So I have the service side, essentially, that just loops around. They grab more food, they bring it out, and they serve it. But from the kitchen side, okay, so we have the chef's seat, so he can overlook everything that's going on, your wash basin and towel bin. Then going across here, we have the finishing table and then the resting table. And as you can see, the bell, I decided to put the light over top of it because it was like, quest exclamation. And then back here, so we have the oven room, which I want to expand with a grill and such, but I ran out of points. You'll see when you see the rest of the house. And then this is just basically all the raw ingredients with a prep table. So what you have here is you'll have the grill master over here. The prep team can pass to the grill master, and he can pass back. And then from this side, the prep team can also serve across onto this secondary counter, where the food can be transferred from the cooking space to the service space. So from here, we'll go to the after hours lounge, or living space. I call it day and night. So I split the room, even though it's showcasing nighttime because it would be like after supper, so to speak. On this side, we have the lounge and pool, like a bar top lounge and pool, and you can see I actually even put in a tap into the barrel, so now we can serve meat from this one. From the far one is more like domestic and imports, so I just put a bunch of boxes of barrels in the back. But with the pool, what I also did is the inside edge I added stools to, so you can sit down, and I can sit up to 12 people in here. So get your bathing suits out because I have pools that you can actually sit in. As we reach the back here, you'll then see the Night Owl space. So yet again, it's another sitting font, but this is more Moonwell themed. So this is actually 4 layers of water effects that are going in here. So I have the Void Fountain that's giving us the most of the water pattern, but then I have the Elune Brazier that makes the wisps, and I have 2 small fountains that are making the bubbling. So I have bubbling coming from the back, coming down like a waterfall, and then I have bubbling coming from underneath to make it look like it's splashing. And then I just put an acorn in here because I thought the acorn was really nice. And then as we go to the back here, now this is my winery space. So the winery space, I have the couple sitting versus group sitting, barrels. So I was thinking primary batch fermenting, and then flavored or aging small batch. So you'd have your primary batch going, then you would add your spices, herbs, berries, whatever you want to give it different flavors, and then that would go into the small batches. And then of course there's just a chest to carry all of the finite ingredients or special ingredients. But I was also thinking you can just pick from the local flora. So like I saw that there was the Horde blueberry plants, so I put in a bunch of the blueberry plants, and there's no real explanation about all of the rest of the different variety of in here, but that also boils back to something that I think would be nice to introduce into the housing too, would be actual herb models from the different expansions, so you could pick the herb and then just plant the herb. I mean, you wouldn't be able to pick it again because it wouldn't be a refreshing resource like it is in Garrisons, but just the idea that herbs that actually go into potions could be herbs that go into wine, right? So anyways, I'm just kind of playing with the RP of that. So we have the trimming, the Arkandor trimming. This I actually had to fork out the gold for because my rogue has been my alchemist since vanilla, and in Shadowlands up to Dragonflight. And in Dragonflight, I switched one of my alchemists to another alchemist, and that alchemist ended up taking over, so I switched his professions out, not thinking I just lost all my years of... Anyway. So the idea here is that I may not have Arkwine grapes, but I can use Arkandor water. So this is like small batch Arkwine using local herbs and grapes and, berries and such. Anyway, so beyond my day and night room, we'll go into the lounge space now, or the common space. So I just have a little cheese table here and another barrel on the way in case people need drinks. Elven sitting area, piano. So the piano is obviously catered for elves. So you try and sit at this piano with a human, and it just looks giant. And of course, a drum set. So I'm thinking about putting in a cello next, which would be really nice. I'm going to put a cello right in the front. And then over here, bathroom. So I was thinking Victorian style water closet. So you'd have like a bucket of water inside the back. You do your business, you flush by dumping the water in, and then you go to the well to fill it up again. So I know I have a bunch of other fountains in the house. I was figuring, more magical than practical. But yeah, I was just trying to go with the whole Victorian theme of like early plumbing. I might just put a handle on it instead. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking about it too much. My hunter sitting space. So before the doghouse was announced, and then there was the doghouse from Half Hill, but I didn't play that far into MOP. I decided to take one of the trader's tents and turn it into a doghouse instead. And then I just used a bucket with a bunch of rocks on top and a draconic fountain for the food and water. Of course, I got my wild hunt up here too on the True Shot Lodge fireplace. My reading space, so all the books that I've collected, some extra ones inside of the shelving. So this was more like a ratification room. So like when people gather information, especially when you're